Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this evening's ACY Securities webinar, Forex Trading Live Market Analysis. Now, if you're on our YouTube live stream, I can't see the chat, but you're more than welcome to watch or just follow the link that I've provided and you can come into the webinar. For everybody else, if you want to ask me a question, just to the webinar chat or the question and answer box, I'll see them coming in. So if you can read through the disclaimer before we move along, that would be great. And somebody's asking me, how will the newest 50 base point increase by Fed affect the market now? Well, they haven't increased it by 50 base points at the moment, I don't believe. Until we get the rise, the market might be factoring in the potential of a 50 base point increase. So if they're factoring that in, potentially the US dollar is going to strengthen. But then it will be a question of, does the Fed actually do that at the next meeting? So potentially it's going to strengthen the US dollar, and then as long as they follow through on the meeting. All right, let's get into it. If you don't know me, then I'm your host, Duncan Cooper, Senior Market Strategist and Trading Manager at ACY Securities. You can connect with me through the week at our website, which is coming up momentarily. But if you don't know me, I'm a full-time trader. Been trading the forex market for more than 15 years, mentoring clients for more than 10. My email is on screen if you want to contact me. And that's duncan.cooper@acy.com. Through the week, you can connect with me on our website, which is coming up now. acy.com, go to the market news tab. And you can connect me as well at our YouTube channel, ACY Securities Australia. If you want to connect with me personally, you can get me on Twitter and LinkedIn there. And you can get me in our Telegram channel. If you want to get access to that, contact Nathan Bray, nathan.bray@acy.com. I'll put his details in the chat in a moment. As well, if you want to get access to my chart layouts and templates for MT4, just contact Nathan. And if you've got any questions about maybe opening an account, you can have a conversation with him too. So I'll just put his details in the chat. If you want to get access to our Telegram, access to the chart layouts and templates, Nathan's details are in the chat there. Just hit him up. All right, let's get just into what news is coming out for the next 24 hours or so. So coming up, February 28th. For Canada, we have 11:30 p.m. These are Queensland time, Canada GDP month on month. Into the early morning, 1 o'clock in the morning for the US, CB consumer confidence. And then tomorrow morning for the Aussie, we've got the CPI year on year, expecting 8.1% from previous 8.4%. So we'll wait and see. Also GDP QQ. All right, so that's what's coming out in the next kind of 24 hours. It's not a very heavy week for news. We don't, for whatever reason, usually we have the job figures coming out from the US in the first Friday of the month, new month, but seemingly we're not having that. So it is on the schedule for next week. So I don't know why. There's been a change up there, but there's been a change up this month coming, which will be the new month tomorrow. All right, so let's get to the charts. A few pairs have been moving in early London. Notably, pound dollar has been moving up. It's moving up to a level that I posted out today in Telegram. Watching the 120-100 level, we're getting 10 pips shy of that. And the euro has been moving up. It's getting above 10600 at the moment. So my bias is still to the downside in those two pairs, but they are moving up to potential levels that I'm watching for failures. So we'll get to those in a moment. So for whatever reason, they're moving up, maybe just we're in the last day of the month and people are covering their shorts, clearing the deck for a new month. We can often, if we have a large month down, the last couple of trading days of the month, we can often have a bit of a rally back up as people are covering their positions. Hedge funds might be covering their positions, so on and so forth at the end of the month. So let's just have a look at the dollar index at the moment. All right, so go to the monthly chart and we're back above this monthly area of resistance at 103.82. So that is obviously US dollar positive. And we almost took out the high last month. We've been down for the month, and then we're getting rather close to the top of the month and to the highs of the previous 2 months. And the market's not going to be that much that we won't be positive for the month, I'm sure. So at the moment, there's a key area of weekly resistance here at 105.69. Can we break above that level? That's going to put all the trends to up. The day trend is up at the moment. The monthly remains up, but the weekly is down. So just looking at the overall general trend, if we can break above that high, 105.69, that's that high there on the daily, then that's going to turn the weekly trend to up. This day trend is already up, and it's already put kind of a bottom in here on top of that monthly resistance area that we've moved through. So yes, we're having a bit of a pullback, but it's just underneath that top there at the moment. And it's not telling me that we're having any kind of major reversal. We're just in an area where you'd expect some selling pressure to come in as we're heading towards that weekly top. But we may have 1 or 2 days down, and then the question will be, will it find enough strength to move beyond that level in the new month? Moving above that level in the new month can only be good for the US dollar and weak for the pairs to the US dollar, okay? So that is a level to watch, I think, as we're heading into the new month. Can we move above 105.69? There is a bit of an imbalance over here that we formed on the way down over that kind of 4-month or so decline. I think it was 4 months. Let's just double check how many months it was. 2, 3, 4. Well, we actually had 4.5 months down, 4 negative months, and then went into a positive month. All right, so that is the key level to watch. I may well just draw it in. As we head into a new month, can we get above 105.695? All right, so whilst we've been seeing US dollar strength, of course, maybe having a couple of negative days there as the week starts. On the S&P 500, we're having further decline, not had much of a rally yet. We'll still be dragging my fib down here, maybe over that old range to see if we can get a 62% rally. Waiting for the next significant lower top to form, so we'd need to have a bounce. At the moment, lower top to a lower bottom here, fading up here at the 79% retracement level of this range here, which is the monthly range. So we've turned negative on the S&P 500. It's a little bit overextended to the downside. Maybe needs a little bit of a rally to correct itself, but that's in a downtrend at the moment. All right, so we're seeing US dollar strength in general terms. A couple of days of correction measure at the moment. And S&P 500 is moving back into a downtrend. So there's definitely the possibility that the US dollar has maybe bottomed early February. Stock markets topped late January. All right. For the long term, until this high that's formed here in January, until we take that out, that could be the high of the year. And on the opposite side of the coin, until we just want to double check, that was a February low, yeah. So until we move below that low there, that could be the low of the year. We could be, general terms, moving up here. All right, for the rest of the year. All right, let's get into the pairs. Now, we might go to the euro dollar first of all. I did some analysis today, put it out in Telegram. And we're just getting a little bit above this daily resistance level here. It's 106.12. We've been above it today, below it. We're fractionally back above it, trading at 106.18. So it's only 6 bits above. Next level is at 106.35. That's a long-term monthly low from over here. So we've actually last week moved back below that level. So that level could be resistance now. The market may want to hold below that monthly low, historic level. And the next major level, monthly low, is down here at 103.40. So, today, tomorrow, the market needs to ask the question, are we wanting to stay below that level at 106.35, this low here? All right, so to my day chart here, we're in a downtrend. This fib I've got drawn in is actually across last week's trading range, and we did have a week down already this week, trading down Monday just. So this is trading back up within the range of last week. 62 level is at 106.38. That monthly low there is at 106.35. So that's a nice area of confluence that the market might push up to, hold, and then fail. And in Telegram today, I was suggesting that, it's going to be to my 15-minute chart, that what I'd like to see, this could actually move up a lot higher if it wants to, but if we're going to move to the downside this week, continue the decline, we really need not to spend too much time above 10600 and above 106.12 here. So what I'd like to see today, yes, we're having a day up, so that's all good and fine. We finished down on, let's just go back to the daily. We finished down on Friday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 days down. So we're just correcting some of that movement down at the moment. But we don't want to spend too much time on it, I think, above 10600. Otherwise, we could start to have a much more significant rally. All right, so hopefully we don't get much beyond 106.35 and that 62 level, and we start to turn around. And what I'd like to see is that we do see a failure today and we're back below 10600, and 10600 starts to be resistance for the week for a longer term move down. So I'm not seeing a reason to be a buyer. We're just having, this is the second day up after having 4 days down. 4 days down, day up on Monday, day up on Tuesday. Just correcting some of last week's move. And I've given you the lesson before in the webinar about price will often retrace back to the 62 or the 79% level of last week's trading range. So hopefully it doesn't get much more beyond 106.38 and the 106.35 monthly resistance level. We may be top out at or close to that area today. So that's the area to watch at the moment. Seeing as we're above 106.12, daily resistance up here is where I'm watching for a possible failure. We may not get there. We may just start to fail back below 106.12 and then back below 10600 through the course of the day. We'll just have to wait and see what price action brings for the rest of the day. If you wanted to be a buyer, you've kind of missed the boat already. You should have been getting in as the central pivot became support and this trend line breakthrough here. That was the best area to get yourself long for the day. All right, because why would I want to buy up here when I could have been buying down here if I wanted to get long for the day? So, all right, so I'm just monitoring for a top to form at the moment within the next 24 hours. Can we get back below 10600? Or start to see some weakness and some price action showing that we want to top out and move down. All right, same on the pound dollar. Let's just get to the pound dollar. That's the range for last week. We did have a week down this week already, so I've just moved the fib down to that level. And last Tuesday, we were very positive above 120-100, but then corrected down. All right. So I'm just monitoring. Just going to get that fib off there for the moment. So you can have a look at the day chart. There is definitely some support down here around about the 119 level. I'm just reading what you're saying, Slav. Judging by the speed of the euro moves up, it may reverse equally fast. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, yes, we could go up all week. We'll just have to wait and see. Anything can happen, of course. We've obviously had a very strong month down, so I'm just trying to keep myself in line with a strong month down and look for an opportunity to sell. Now, we've obviously had a nice month down on the pound, but we are getting some support here at the moment at 119 area, just ahead of. This 119.58 line that we've bounced off over the last couple of days is a monthly low from over here. So we've been trying to get below there and not wanting to commit below that level at the moment. And of course, this double top here on the weekly chart, is that going to come to fruition? And can we break below weekly support down here at 118.41? So at the moment, we're getting some bounce And we're trading up. We have actually had a week down. So these candles are a little bit difficult. We had an up week and a down week 2 weeks ago. Last week we had an inside week, but it was negative for the week. This week, yes, we've had a week down, but we're obviously positive for the week, trading inside last week's range. All right, so I'm just going to drop to the 4-hour chart and I'm just monitoring the range of last week and down to the low of the new week there. We're almost at the 79 level, 120.99. We may have, well, we haven't quite touched it, but we've almost got there. And of course, the 120-100 level is just above that level. So, you know, we don't want to see strength moving above 120-100 for more than half a day, I don't think, you know, because obviously what we'd like to see is we're just trading back inside last week's range. We want to top out somewhere around here and then trade down for the rest of the week. And the weekly candle has just been trading inside last week's range for a while and then moving down to a fresh low for the week. Now, price might not want to do that. We might want to have a week up this week, but this is definitely where the high of the week can come in. So it's definitely worth monitoring now. 15-minute chart. Worth monitoring for a failure and whatever your setup is to sell. I know some of you sold last week, Tuesday, when we were up testing the 121 level. So really we're just up to the same level that was a selling level last week. Is it going to present the same this week? Are the sellers simply sitting there ready to take control once more for a further push down? All right. So we're seeing some selling pressure on the current candle. Is that going to hold for the rest of the day? You'll just have to monitor what is going to be set up to sell. All right, now you could be looking for a trend line break, swing point break. You might want to have a bit more of a positional play. You might want to be maybe selling at 121 if you can touch there. Stop at 122. All right, whatever your mode of operation is, there's more than a few ways of getting in and more than a few ways of how you're going to, how many pips do you want to risk, so on and so forth. I mean, this could be the last stab at 121 area here for the next 4 months. Who knows? All right. This back to the daily. This area here could be a long-term double top. You know, it is a little bit range bound here at the moment. I would much have preferred that we did break below 1915 early in the week, but we haven't done that. So time to monitor. Up here for a failure. Slab's telling me he just sold some. So, of course, I'm giving the indication that I think we still have a downward bias, but everybody has to make their individual decision. You know, you're trading your own account. If you're trading in a live account, you need to make your own personal decision. Do you want to trade the pound dollar? Don't just follow me blindly. You know, you need to make your own personal decisions. All right, so let's just head into the pound yen. This has been moving up. It's 3 days up. It's a bit long in the tooth here at the moment. I am just monitoring this significant move down. Not seeing a reason. I'm not going to buy 3 days up. Not seeing a reason to sell at the moment. I'm just monitoring this range that we've moved down. You know, I would be starting to watch up here at the 79% level, 166.29. What starts to happen there? I would also be watching up here at 168.72. This is the monthly top up here where we had to form this triple top. We could definitely move all the way up there. You know, to be a buyer to the upside after 3 days of a move here, this could continue up, yes, for into the new month. But maybe you want to see a pullback to broken resistance being support, this 163.75 level. So, you know, to trade to the long side, I'd need to see a pullback to support, to a logical level of support, and then the next move up. If I wanted to be a seller, levels to watch. If I thought this was like a leg down, I thought this was all corrective before the next leg down. We'll watch the 79% level up here, 166.29 for possible failure through the week. Up here, 168.72. That's a long way away at the moment. Well, it's not that far away for the pound yen, but it's over 300 pips away. And what I can also see is where we're moving into at the moment. So I don't know if we are going to top out at the moment. We've just filled this imbalance here. So the market's filled that. So it could logically start to stall here because it's now filled that imbalance. There's probably a bigger imbalance on the 4-hour chart that hasn't yet been filled. There we go. So the top of that imbalance is up at the 166.05 level based on the 4-hour chart. All right, so there's still a bit more of an imbalance to fill there before that's all filled. And that's going to get you relatively close up to the 79% level. So, you know, if you're long, that would be a great area to target, to expect that price may meet there, but then not want to maybe move any further beyond there. So that would be a great area to target for a profit target. All right. But it's very difficult just to click in right now and go buy because you're at the top of a large 4-hour candle and you're at the top of a 3-day move. Logically, price pulls back before it further moves up. So if you're already long, great. You're just managing it. Other than that, awesome levels further up that I would watch for selling at. And yes, pulling back to 163.75 area to see whether that activates support for another move up would be a level to watch. Okay. We've covered the euro dollar. I'll cover its cousin, the euro yen. This is obviously moving. This is a very similar range to what I was just discussing on the pound yen. All right. And there was an imbalance down here, which is getting filled at the moment. And with the same look on the 4-hour chart here. In fact, we have filled it on the 4-hour chart. The imbalance was here. So that is definitely getting filled. There may be a little bit more in there on the 1-hour chart to fill, but I would say most of this now has been most definitely been filled. That drop, that was the day that the Bank of Japan was doing its monetary policy meeting and commentary. Dropped like the best part of 500 pips that day. So the market's been recovering all that drop through all this upward move here. Again, this is very high up. You know, you don't want to be buying here very high up. You need to see a pullback before being a buyer. Today chart. So pulling back to support. And then can it move up from support? Day support's there at 144.15. So that would be the level to watch for continued support and a pullback. If price was to move back below 144.100, fail, then, you know, we could be topping out here. So this is a weekly lower top to a lower bottom there. That is also a monthly bottom. So you could also monitor the range from that monthly bottom up to that top there. That's at 146.04, the 79% fib. I'll be monitoring up there at 146.75. So at the moment, I'm not doing anything. I'm just monitoring levels. If I come up to a nice level that I see a failure at, with such a strong upward move, we could well turn around. And I could also be monitoring levels of support to buy up from if we pull back. But 3-day move, it's not the time just to jump in and buy. Just time to monitor. So let's just go from the monthly chart down. Now the monthly trend of the euro yen is actually up. So potentially we may be having another month up and we might want to move above this high. This is, you know, 62% pullback there, or sorry, between 62 and 79% pullback. It's holding its trend higher bottom. We are into some resistance areas to the left, previous over here, that the market's been struggling at as it went up last year. I mean, we are where we could top, you know, that push up last year, which couldn't take out that high. Is that the final high? We don't know yet. But a strong month up, maybe we're anticipating another month up. The monthly trend is up. The weekly, I'm looking at that as a lower top to bottom there. There's a minor bottom here, but if you look at that range, lower top to bottom, you could look at all this as corrective of that movement down. So that's that top there to that low there. And, you know, we're a little bit above 79% level. If we are going to top out up here, then I'd want to start to see price, wanting to get back below 144.72. So I'm neither a buyer or a seller. I could be buying or selling this pair depending on what I see. Just I'm not going to be buying on a 3-day move up, and I'm not seeing a signal to sell. So I'm just taking ample notes of where price is, making sure I've got my resistance levels in that price is heading towards. And I actually want to also know where's that other 79% level. So I'll just move that across like so. So that, I like to have the exact number in. So I want to know where the first fib level is. I'm adjusting the wrong number. That should be 38 down at the bottom. And then let me just readjust that there. So that's a larger range, 79% fibs at 146.04. There is a high there. So I do like that area up there. Then we got this range. All right, as well. So I've got two 79% levels I can monitor. Do we start to fall below 144.72, or do we simply start to continue up to 146.04? And then I can just start to watch what price wants to do. And also watch 146.72. This doesn't look like it's having a pullback anytime soon. Dollar yen's flying up as well, so that's helping the euro yen move up as the euro dollar is moving up. So we've actually been seeing dollar yen strength and euro dollar strength, so that's why we're getting that moving up. All right, so a few levels to watch. I don't know if we're going to get a failure into the new month at these high levels, but if you don't have the high levels marked in, you won't know what levels you're watching. We could just simply continue up into the new month and challenge the high of last year. As I just showed you, the monthly chart is up. So I can be a buyer or seller on this. I just need to see a setup, which I don't have at the moment. All right, let's move over to the Aussie yen day chart. Now, this is a lot less. This is actually to the monthly chart, first of all. This is actually having a rally on the monthly chart. This is actually in the downtrend. So I've just showed you on the euro yen a different complete trend, higher top, higher bottom, moving up. Whereas on the Aussie yen here, and this is a lower bottom on the monthly, we are moving up. So we could be forming at some point a lower top here. So top to a lower bottom, you have to look at this as corrective now that we have a lower bottom on the monthly. If you look at the monthly range, it's that whole range. And we're at the 50% point. So this could go up higher to obviously the 62 or the 79. But on the weekly range, we've been playing at the 62 level. So yes, we've had a month up. So we're in the area that we could obviously have a month down next month and form a lower top. And we're playing at 62% level here. Last week, I was discussing the possibility of price failing here at 92.81 weekly resistance, which it did, putting kind of a double top, slightly lower top. This may be just drifting up to put in another lower top. We've got the Aussie CPI data coming out tomorrow. That may well send this moving down to put in a lower top. It doesn't seemingly want to get above. Friday, Monday, Tuesday, yes, we're testing it today with this daily area of resistance, 91.93, so pretty much the 92 level. Could be where the market's, doesn't want to move above. 92 could be where the sellers are sitting, getting ready for the next move down. All right, so there is a potential, back to the weekly, that we are maybe topping out up here for a long-term move down in line with what that monthly trend is, which is down. And we could be putting in a lower top here on the monthly. All right. What are we having in Australia? We're going to have 3 interest rate rises, 4 interest rate rises. How's that going to affect the economy? I don't know. I don't know if that's good for the Aussie. So if that's not good for the Aussie, we may be putting in a top here to move down. So All I can tell you at the moment in the most recent price action is that we are struggling at 92, having failed up there. So are we going to continue down? Now, with the news coming out tomorrow, CPI data, there's the higher last week, low to last week. You could be monitoring. We may well push above 92, depending on what the news is. We could come up to the 62% area, 92.27, 79% level, 92.59. You know, we could come up, have a rally this week all the way back up to retest very close to 92.81. All right. Yeah, price getting back up to there tomorrow. If the news pushes it up, I am sure you're going to find sellers up there once things settle. So we'll just have to wait and see. Price may not want to get above 92, but that would be an obvious area. If you look left, look at all these failures over here to the left. All right, so that's the area to watch on the Aussie yen if we get a very high push up, or we may be just failing that 92. So if you need to make a decision, do you want to get in before tomorrow? Do you just want to wait till the data comes out tomorrow? Can't get up to 92 today. Can't get up to that day resistance level today after the early touch in Asia. All right, and I'm sure if I draw a fib across that range of the move down through Asia, right, so we've dropped down, hit the level, dropped down through Asia, we're coming up to the 79% level there. That could be where we're failing right now to move down. So you just need to make a decision. Do you want to look to short up there? It's failing at Friday's high to the left there. Over here at the moment. All right, Aussie dollar. Can't really have too much of a bid at the moment. Yes, we've just had a day up, but we're already negative for the day. So what we're doing at the moment is we're having a bit of a bounce down at 67.22. That's actually a monthly, an old monthly. If you go left over here, there's an old monthly low over here. That's why I've got it drawn in. That could offer some form of support. All right, to the weekly chart. There's a daily level of support here. We'll see that on the day chart in a moment. But the more notable level of support's down here at 66.29. Is there a long-term double top forming here for a major decline? All right, there's the double top. We've had a downtrend starting to form. So at the moment, that 67.22 monthly level of support is just holding a little bit of support yesterday, but we're back below it today. So we're managing just to have half a day up maybe. And then we're going to trade down for the rest of the day. There's not too much, in a perfect world, when we hit some form of support down here, I would say, okay, can it come back up to the broken level of support? 68.11. Now it might get up there tomorrow on the news. So on the news tomorrow, if it all gets positive for the Aussie, watch 68.11 to be resistance. And does the news tomorrow drive it up? Do we fail then to move down for the week? Now that may not happen. We may be trading down all day and then the news is just negative tomorrow and we just can continually drive down with only, look at the rallies that we've been having. We've been moving down. We actually had one day up there and just a pip above there. So that's like one day and an hour up maybe. Here we're kind of half a day up and then we're negative. All right, there's not a lot of buying going on there. Sellers are completely under control there at the moment. All right. We're trying to ask, can we now convincingly move below last week's low? This is going to be last month's low potentially if we don't move down today. So come tomorrow, we could just be going down for another month down. All right. So we'll be watching this tomorrow, simply watching to see if we can rally back up to 68.11 and then what does the market want to do? All right. But struggling at the moment at 67.50 area. All right. So I don't know whether I want to take a new position ahead of the data tomorrow, but after the data, if it has a nice rally up, 6800 level, 6811 level up there, the daily resistance level, that would be a great area certainly to watch, because at the moment there doesn't seem to be any buying pressure to get up there. So a new spike could well fail up there, and we could be trading down into a whole new month. If we look at the monthly chart of the Aussie at the moment, that's the current month, which is almost last month. It's an outside month, pretty much. Don't know if we traded. All right, we haven't tried. I'm just looking where the last month's low is. It's down here. So we haven't traded below last month's low. So we don't have an outside month quite, not yet. There's still the day to finish. But on the monthly chart there, that is exceptionally negative. You know, if we have another similar month down, we're not going to be that far away from last year's low. All right. All right, so very negative on the Aussie. Just a question of looking for maybe a higher rally, if that can offer up for a move down. We may well, this weekly level here, we may well trade below that level, but whether or not we can hold below that level long term before we at least, you know, we trade down, maybe through that level, through the course of this week or next week, we may then need a bounce up, bit of a correction before we can move further down. We've got all these support areas here where there'll be orders to buy. So we may not just move through these lows easily. All right, and I do notice that there's a bit of an imbalance here. All right, so we may trade down to the imbalance and then see some form of corrective rally. So we come down over the next couple of weeks, hit that imbalance and fill it, and then we might, you know, move back above, come back up to like 68 and then move down. All right, I don't know if we're just going to head along, keep drilling down here without having some form of a breather, but it is very negative at the moment. All right, we'll cover the euro pairs and the pound pairs. Let's just see what the euro dollar is doing. All right, so can't hold the high yesterday. It's just asking the question at 106.12 daily support resistance. Pound dollar can't touch 121, and that's 79% fib. Still plenty of time for it to move up and test there at the moment. We may well see one or two more candles come up here. So looking for maybe a failure on a test. Right, New Zealand yen, my same old story at the moment. Go to your weekly chart. Weekly supports, weekly resistance here. We've actually got another bottom maybe forming there, but it's just doing nothing. I'm just watching the higher end of the range. Can it come into the higher end of this range here between 84.66 daily resistance and 84.91 weekly resistance and fail? Other than that, it's really not doing anything. So it's just a question of monitoring what would be a very good level to sell at if we got there. All right. All right, New Zealand dollar. Potential double top up here now. We've moved below the midpoint low area here. Let's put my fib in. So the target for that double top up there will be formed on the day chart, triple top, but to the weekly chart, yeah, I'm classing that as a double top on the weekly chart, which was a 62% failure of last year's range in there as well. And it failed at monthly resistance over here, 65.27. I don't have that line in now because we're away from that level, but that's where we failed. It's worth understanding that if we failed at the 62% level rally of last year's trading range, all right, there's a very good chance we can move down to the low of last year. And maybe we're going to move down through to 127 extension long term. But of course, a lot needs to happen for that to occur. Not going to happen this week. But at the moment, we've got this double top coming into play. We've broken the low. So the double top target would be down at 58.68. And this week, you know, what would be nice is once you break the mid low here, the price comes back up to test it and hold. Well, we can't get up there at the moment. That low is at 61.91, around about 6,200 level. It'd be nice if price could get up and retest 62 and hold and then move down. But it might not get up there. All right, this is one of the weaker pairs at the moment. All right, for our chart, just continually putting now a further lower top. Like I'm not seeing a setup here to sell at the moment because it's so low down. I'd like to see a rally back up to, my perfect setup would be moving back up to 61.91, up to 62.04. Weekly, monthly resistance there. See this consolidation that we had sitting on monthly support that was at 62.04. All those that are buying through there may still be in their buys. So if we got back up to the area, they would want to switch or at least get out of their positions, which is going to create selling pressure. So expect that broken area of support here to be resistance on a test. That would be the most logical level to watch for a retracement back up to then look to execute a trade to the short side in line with that double top. But at the moment, we're almost pretty much at the low of the move. And I don't want to sell the low of the move. So I need to look for some form of a rally. Now, in terms of price points, we're kind of trading at 61.41. So what might happen over the next 2 or 3 days is we simply move below 61 convincingly. Then you want to watch 61 to be resistance. If we're looking at the figures at the moment, we're trading around about 61.41. So we're kind of halfway between two figure levels. So logically at the moment, I'll be watching 62 for resistance. If we can cleanly move through 6100, I will watch that for resistance on a rally. That's how I would look at trying to get in at the moment. Can we clearly break 61 at the moment? Does that become resistance? Or can we rally back up to 62 to be resistance? All right, dollar Canadian. And we could be seeing on the dollar Canadian here, we're having a weekly bottom form here on weekly support. Then we've made a fractional higher bottom and even a minor further higher bottom there on that big outside candle. This could be a long-term consolidation here for a much higher move. We had this very elongated move up, corrected sideways consolidation with another higher bottom forming here. This could be, we could see a very explosive breakout to the upside here. I mean, it has to move above the resistance area up here, but I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. We were sideways down here on the daily. Now we've broken, tested monthly resistance. It's 136.64. And we couldn't get down there yesterday, but could we get down to 135.20? Broken resistance becomes support. That would be the area that we'll be watching to be a buyer if you wanted to get long. Then you've got plenty of room to trade up for a retest of monthly, daily, and weekly resistance. And can we move through? You don't want to be buying too close up there. You want to buy a dip. So I already proved to you last Friday, that that's where the sellers are sitting at the moment. So you don't want to be buying anywhere near the sellers. Look at 135.20 if we can pull back to be support, and then can you see a setup to buy to move up to re-challenge resistance. All right. All this consolidation could be acquiring orders to move higher. And a long-term sideways action will inevitably mean we have a long-term trend form. Now, of course, that trend could break to the downside, but at the moment, it's looking more to the upside in the way the day chart's presenting. So we just need to start to break above the next area of resistance, You know, through the course of next month, we could be getting all the way up to that 140 level up there, if we're going to see this consolidation breakout really occur. All right, let's get to the dollar yen. So we've actually had a very nice breakout. This is why you need to go. I'm just going to get rid of a number of lines off here at the moment, but they can all come back on a little later. You know, look at your monthly chart and you go, oh, you know, we must be at all-time highs here, but we're not. You really need to squash your charts in. And we're moving back above a significant monthly level from around about 2001. So the market's kind of convincingly said, okay, I want to move back above that level once more. Just put my other lines back in. Some of these lines may not feel like they're too meaningful, but I've got monthly, weekly, daily support and resistance all drawn in. So 133.62 is weekly support that we've moved, was resistance that we moved above. I mean, we're nowhere near that at the moment, but it could be relevant at some points. 135.16 is that monthly top that I just showed you. So see how we held there for 3 or 4 days? Now, why was it holding there? Because the market knew that that was a significant top, but we broke above it Friday. And I was hoping we might pull back to 135.16, but we're not at the moment. We could still pull back to there. But if you're long at the moment, you know, your next barrier is daily resistance at 137.68, this area here. And there may well still be plenty more upside, weekly resistance at 139.38, and this level's a monthly level at 141.53. And why I say there could be plenty of movement to the upside still, there is an imbalance there that we formed on the way down that may want to get filled. And the market may want to go up and test last year's high. So this is in a raging uptrend at the moment. I would not be looking to short this. I would be looking to see a pullback. All right. Now we're already having a week up. Great level to watch would obviously be that monthly top that we moved above. And these, you know, if you go your 4-hour chart, you'll see the formation of these 3 tops here. So pulling back into this area, we just cover those 3 tops. This area here, you know, price moving back into that area you would expect. We got a very strong breakout above. We may not pull back, but I don't want to be buying at the top of the market. You know, that would be just a level I'll be watching at the moment for a pullback. I would also be drawing a fib across from last week's low up to the current high. I can see the 62 level lines up nicely as well with one of those 4-hour tops. All right, so that would be an area I'll be watching. And sometimes price will pull back to the area that I'm watching, sometimes it won't. All right. So, you know, I've got areas on all pairs that I follow that I'm watching sometimes, and usually through the week, a pair or two will pull back to the levels that I'm watching. All right. Will the dollar yen pull back to that level? Well, we'll just have to keep watching. All right. But you don't want to be buying at the top. You want to look for a logical pullback within that very nice trend that's unfolding at the moment. All right. I just want to see what the euro dollar is doing. And pound dollar. All right. All right, let's have a look at gold. All right, so it's on a key level of support. All right, so there's the monthly chart, very negative month down, outside reversal, all right? Potentially we're pointing in a lower top on the monthly chart after moving up from a lower bottom. Economists are saying gold's going to 3,000. Doesn't look like it at the moment. All right, so from a monthly perspective, that looks exceptionally negative. At the moment, it is coming down to these tops over here. And you'll see that we're coming down to a weekly top as well. So the weekly top's the more recent one, so that's the one to reference. And we could obviously hold here and move back up. So this is a level to watch for a day chart reversal, but we're not seeing a reversal at the moment. We've got lower tops and bottoms. With such a heavy sell-off, I would definitely need to see a significant day chart signal to go along. I'm not seeing one there at the moment. And we have today traded below 1807. We do have that US news coming out early in the morning. I just want to refresh my memory. CB consumer confidence, 1 in the morning. So when that comes out, if that's positive, that's just going to be US dollar positive, of course. And that may be enough to drive gold below that level. So, at the moment, that's the level to watch for supports or a break below to be resistance. The trend is down. So, do we move below? Does that level become resistance? If we have another month down like we had this month, let's say we don't go down anymore this month. So there's the height of this month. We're going down exactly the same without having too much of a pullback. We're almost down to the lows of where we came from. All right, so that keeps going down at the same aggressive tone. We could be down here by the end of the new month, by the end of March. So if we're going to continue down, you want to see a break below 1807. Does it become resistance for a continued decline? There is, of course, a possibility that that level holds and we find support there. So you'll just have to monitor that level. That is the key level to watch, 1807 at the moment. All right, and I was going to have a look at the FR40 because I know, Slav, you've been trading this. It is putting on a lower top there. I don't know whether you're still in it. But a negative week last week. All right, you closed it, but it is starting to show that it wants to put in a lower top. So I don't know. We can keep watching it, see how it unfolds into the new month. Moving to the weekly chart here, from a double top perspective, and now you're telling me in the UK 100, from a double top perspective here, long term, if we trade below last week's low, that's going to start to confirm that this could be a long-term double top for a long-term move down. So it is worth monitoring a break of last week's low, and then can you see a setup? All right. So UK 100, what have you shorted that one? Or are you long that one? Short. Alif, may you want me to demonstrate the fib extension tool? Well, the fib extension tool, there isn't an extension tool separate to the fib tool in MT4, like you were showing in your charts. There's just one tool. So let's say we have an uptrend. I'll just demonstrate this chart before we look at the FTSE 100. Let's say we have an uptrend and it pulls back. All right. Is you draw your fib from low to high and you measure the pullback. But in MT4, the extension is already drawn. It's here. So once price has pulled back to the 62% level, your target for the upward move is the 127 extension already drawn. It's there. You don't draw a further extension to try to come up with a further extension. It's already drawn. So when you draw it across a range here from low to high, it gives you retracement levels and your extension levels all in the same tool at the same time. All right, so on the charts that you sent me, you were drawing in a retracement tool and then an extension tool as far as I could make out. But in MT4, it's all in the same tool. So I'm not quite sure how that extension works. I did send you an email back saying that you needed it. I told you where I thought you needed to put the last position in position 1 to get it right. All right. All right. So hopefully that helps. I can't really support a platform that I don't use because I don't have the same platform and the tools that you're using. So, you know, all I would say is the fib tool I use in MT4 works perfectly. Just download MT4 and use that. And then you shouldn't have a problem. All right, FTSE 100. I know it's around here somewhere. There it is. And Slav, you're saying short at the moment. Well, all right, so you maybe shorting at this top, close to. It is an uptrend, but yes, we could hold there. I mean, this is the most positive index, I think, across the world at the moment, relatively speaking, when we look at the other ones. But yes, it could hold there. I mean, it's still in a weekly uptrend. All it has to do this week is close above that level and doesn't look very good. But I mean, if we do trade down, yes, we could get a very good reversal from that level. All right, if you break that low today, 78.55, it does look rather nice on the day chart. All right. So, you are trading the extremes, but you could be right there. Breaking below those 2-day chart bottoms would obviously probably mean you can get your trade to break even, and then you're just waiting to see if the thing wants to start to move down. Slavy saying, can I show you how to use RSI? What time frame are you thinking about? RSI for long terms. Well, we can put it on here, for example. RSI. Just have to find it. I mean, you can go on Google and get 100 lessons on RSI. My general interpretation, which might not be the same as somebody else's interpretation. I don't know whether you can see it on here. Let me just, standard setting is 14. I just want to make these levels black so you can see them. Levels are 30 and 70. So in general terms, I might make that thick so you can see it a bit clearer. There we go. Is when RSI is above the 70 level, theoretically, it's overbought. And there's a potential for it to top out. All right. So, of course, here at the moment, we've been above 70 and then we're moving back below 70. So the anticipation could be that this is now going to move down to 30 level. All right. And of course, price is going to move down from the overbought position. All right. So I would line it up with, is price showing you a topping out when it's overbought above 70, and are you flying at maybe a clear level of resistance? And in the opposite direction, when we're getting down into under the 30 level, that's oversold. We start to move them back above. Some people use simple triggers like it moves below the 30. When it crosses back above the 30, that's your trigger to buy. Some people use like trend lines, trend line break above for a buy. If you can see a buy setup forming here, they use that as a buy. Same on the downside, they kind of use trend lines with the RSI as well. All right, but it's really just telling you where potentially your extremes are either oversold and price is too short and needs to move back up. Is that happening at a key level of support maybe? And now on the opposite side, does price, has it moved up to a key level of resistance? And then if you're in the over 70 level, then we could start to see a turnaround. But like any indicator, you know, does come down here, but you know, we only get a short pullback here before it starts to move up. All right, so like any indicator, it's just based on price, it's historical. But I would look at, if I'm at extreme resistance and the indicator is telling me we're extremely overbought, we'll look for that to move back below 70. That's a trigger. If we're completely sold off down to a key level of major supports, look for the indicator to move back above 30. All right. So that's like kind of a long-term approach. I'm sure if you go and Google RSI, day chart strategy, you might get something along the same lines I've just told you, or you might get some added information that I haven't applied. I haven't done a lot of work on the RSI, but that's a general lesson on RSI. You can, you know, while I'm here, a 2-minute rendition. I've used RSI before on like a 15-minute and a 5-minute chart. I might just pull this to the euro dollar. And you go and do the work yourself. I'm not going to spend too much time telling you how to do this. And I've used a setting of 7 back in a long time ago. Setting is 7. All right, so this is the 5-minute chart. You know, looking for failures above the 70 level and looking what price is telling me. See up here, when we were starting to want to move back below 70, we've had this little intraday shift down. Okay, once we started to want to move back above the 70 down here, we started to move up. I've used that before. 7 is just a period slab, so it's just a shorter period. So if you're using RSI, say RSI 14 on the day chart, it's 14 days as a period setting. So the number is just how many candles the indicator is using to calculate and plot the RSI indicator. Okay, so I've used 7 before. In fact, I think I've used 7 and 9. It may be 9. It's a long time ago since I've used RSI. I'm talking like 15 years ago when I was first trading the forex market. Maybe 9. 9 looks a lot better. See how it's holding along here, where we've bottomed out today on the 5-minute chart. See here, once we got really oversold and started to move back up, we got this little upward move here. It might be like a 10 pip move up there. That was back in the days when I was just trading for like 10 to 20 pips moves. That's how I used to use RSI. All right, so you can apply that. I don't find RSI useful for myself now. I only use MACD. That's the only indicator I use. All right. So you can go and play with that if you want. Just go on Google RSI. There'll be 100 million different strategies. One of those might catch your eye that you like, you know. All right, before we go, that. Hi everybody, hopefully you can hear me. For some reason, the webinar dropped out. So I was just looking at the Euro-dollar 50-minute chart. Hopefully you'd still hear me. All right, Slavy, telling me you're hearing. All right, so for some reason the Zoom dropped out. It's just come back in. So, you know, the Euro-dollar, we are moving back below 106.12. You may see further weakness below 106 today. You might see a setup then that you want to trade, but over the next 24 hours, do look for 106 potentially to be resistance for further move down. Pound dollar, just having a positive candle here. We've obviously discussed that one. We might just see a touch of it today. We may see a trade through it for a bit. We might not touch it at all. So, you know, watch the price action around here for potential failure for a move down. All right. I mean, of course, it can move through, but if you start to see it fail, maybe that's going to be the high of the week for a move down. So two level areas to watch there on the euro dollar and the pound dollar. Okay. All right. With that in mind, we've got more webinars coming up tomorrow. Just head over to the webinar page. I'm going to be reviewing what happened last month tomorrow, what price action setups, patterns set up. That's coming tomorrow, 8 p.m. Sydney time. Just head over to the webinar page and register your interest. There it is, just there. And more live market analysis on Thursday. So if you want to join me, just go ahead and register your interest. Other than that, thanks very much for joining me. Any questions? And is the US dollar just having a 1 or 2 day rally? And are we going to see a further decline in the week? We'll just have to monitor that and see whether some of those levels come to fruition. Okay. Thanks, everybody.